when he has a rating where the number is bonkers, like he'll have a rating like a simple and Zero tournament, but you'll look and it'll be like 0.7 kills per round. Like they would be like a 0.8 kills. Like they'd have like some bonkers, like gaudy numbers. His is more like he just never ever dies and he's very efficient with his kills. Right? Here's a reason why, even though this will sound counterintuitive, I actually think that makes you a worse player, because that's actually great for what Jame is doing, which is in his team. Sometimes the player will be the star, will be like a Flit or a Fame. These are the ones who'll pop up. So if he just does his job in that sense and is efficient with an expensive gun, that works. The other players I'm talking about, like when I critique Shiro or Ziwu or fucking Monacy, when they have the AWP, they don't have an option to save and play safe. And then, I tell you what, like, well, who the fuck would Ziwu? I tell you what, I'll sit back and Flames. You just have to carry the whole tournament and win, and then we might win the event. No, the difference is, even if their numbers look less efficient or they're dying more, they're doing that as an exchange for being a superstar in the game and doing things that like break the round. Like one of the things I've always thought is also underrated is, it's like every kill isn't equal either. Like someone can have 20 kills in a game and have a very boring game. Or, and Jim obviously has done that many times, or you can have a round where like Monacy wins like a 1v3 that like 4 people in the world could even win. Like never mind attempt, just win. Like conceivably like hit that no, because everyone knows, this is why I'm specifically using Monacy. Monacy does the simple shit, which by the way, my interview with him is ridiculous. Because when I ask Simple like how the fuck he aims that way with the AWP, this is where he is like a mad genius. He claims he invented that super flick style specifically so you can win clutches. Because obviously if you try it the really slow, like lining it up with the squad, you're never going to win the clutch, are you? He claims that he actually did that so he could do that. Like, Monacy does that. Like, these are rounds that, like, they're worth more than just the kills. Like, there's just certain people can do that, certain people can't. There's not many of them. So my problem with Jame is just that, like, look, the eye test, as you say, is always going to be where it falls down. You're going to go and watch his game. What you're going to see is some interesting decisions. He's going to hit a few really good shots, but not that many insane ones. And he's not going to do the Monacy things I'm talking about before. He's not going to have that round that breaks the whole game, or he's not going to have the one where he picks up a deagle and just 3Ks people out of nowhere and like, holy shit, the whole economic system's reversed. Like, what I like about him in some ways is he definitely does play to his character. Like, it's like he knows the script he's being handed, but I don't think he even tries to be a superstar player. I don't think that's even how he sees the game. It's why actually, in some ways, if you notice, the two people I don't anymore critique is, I'm actually okay with both Jame and Cadian being primary AWPer and IGL, because as you say, they've actually, if anything, suited their AWP game to their IGL job more than the other way around. Like, the difference is people do critique Blame F and go, but is he doing a good enough job as an IGL? I think those two guys, Jame and Cadian, do a great job as an IGL and a pretty good job as an AWPer. Like, I kind of don't have a problem with that. Like, it's just, if we're making it AWPer of the year, you don't get any points to being an IGL. It's just what you did with the gun, mate. And as you say, mate, there are some much better AWPers than Jame. You're right. I don't care what the numbers tell me.
The problem I have when you do the Cadian Jame comparison is I feel like if you do the equation, like how many or how much resource is devoted to a player in order for him to kind of produce results on the server, it does feel like Jame is literally being set up all of the time.
Oh, sure.
Frag, all of the time. Any position, any setup, any financial decision, any tech, like tree or any branch on that tech tree is designed for Jame to deliver something. And you sometimes could sit down and look at his game and be like, why is he not doing more? Like, why is he not doing more? He's got all the setup, all the base and everything. Cadian a bit more selfless, I would say, in the approach. Like, he would give his life away at some point. So this is the one problem that I have with James sometimes. Is I understand he seems like a very cerebral guy who thinks about the game and sort of always knows what probability is most likely to happen, what is the scenario, what is the best course of action. I just wish sometimes he'd thrown away the rulebook a little bit more and just get stuck in here and there. I'm not asking him to completely change his DNA within the game. That's not going to happen. But just here and there, just go ahead and go on a limb, take a risk, put your life on the line, get committed in a round or two. You could be surprised because, if anything, maybe he is slightly underrated in terms of what we mechanically think he can do, because he never really puts himself in like simple-esque situations of clutches. Who knows? Maybe he could actually be able to have some.
I know what you wish you could see, mate. This is what we wish we could see. We wish there was a way, hypothetically, we could just drop. Essentially, let's just drop Jame into Monacy's spot and just have him. Exactly. Look, don't IGL. Just take the shots. And in fact, don't even worry about saving. It's okay to die. Just basically go for the shot.
Exactly.
Kind of shows what you're capable of. Because I actually wonder the same thing, Maniac. When I look at his game is phenomenal, but it's so like structured around what he wants to do, decision making. But I'd actually have a hard time telling you, mate, how good is he mechanically with the AWP? I'm not really sure. Because I have always thought, by the way, it's actually why I think Device is a master with the weapon. I do think that the AWP is largely, except for rare people like Simple, it is mainly about setup. It's about understanding where they're going to come from and where you and how far off the wall you put the crosshair. Do you rescope immediately? Do you pull back and take another shot? These are the things that make like an AWP consistent. So like Jame can do these things, but the problem is essentially what happens if he did try to be like Simple and just kill everyone with the AWP? What would happen then, right? So it's an interesting what if, I'll tell you. I mean, part of me wonders, because we're going to sort of see this with Shiro. We're going to see Shiro on a completely different team without any of those teammates and see what is he like as a player? Will he play different? Will he be better? By the way, maybe he'll now smurf and be a top 20 player if the spirit isn't good. The thing is though, with Jame, it looks like he's never tried to do that though. That's the other thing that's so strange about this guy. He's somehow gotten, I'll give him mad credit. Think about how long ago that fucking Starland of Berlin was, but that was in 2019. He's got a pretty good fucking career out of this really weird saving style, hasn't he? Like, I can't even remember. I always forget this as well. He's won a fucking major, and he was the MVP of it. Like, I used to think he was a meme. I've got to give it up to him. He actually, in his own way, he's sick, even though he is boring as fuck. Like, look, I know. Don't ever put me on his team. But I'll tell you what, if I get good odds, I'll bet on VP a lot of the time, boys.
I know. I've went heavy on VP quite a few times because I knew when I was getting out of it. But man, yeah, we do forget he's a major winner. Damn, like,
it's crazy, isn't it, when you think of that?
Yeah, he might be one of the most misjudged player there is out there, and I'm guilty of that too. It's like I'm guilty of it too. Maybe
like someone make like a meme compilation where it's like all the craziest Nico moments, and then it's like Nico 0 majors. Then just show loads of clips of Jame like saving at the end of a half. You know what I mean? When he like doesn't even go for it, dude. He'll even do that shit where you save because you have like the armor on the pistol round. You know what I mean? Like, I know. One of our biggest pet peeve. Just show that and they'll be like Jame MVP of a major. Like, because it'll just be so absurd. The contrast is too much for me. I can't. By the way, that's where you realize how actually strong the mental fortitude of the superstar players are. Because that would actually drive me crazy if I was Nico. If I'm thinking about that, like, wait a minute. Nob and Jame have a major, but I haven't got shit. Like, I don't know if I could live with that. You know what I mean? That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, bro. He definitely he did. I feel like he did what he had to do in order to get the best out of his lineups at the time. But now I almost feel like I feel like with this VP, this should be more.
Don't you think with the firepower they have? Like, here's the thing: you don't have to abandon the style, but you can open it up a bit more. Surely, you know what I mean?
There should be more. Like, if you have Flit, if you have Fame, man, like you have a trio that's really, really strong. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just mad because I haven't really seen much of them. And so I'm a little bit negatively biased against VP. But come on, man. Like, please. Like, I'm really looking forward to the beginning of 2024. Because I agree. I feel like the first few months or the last month of 23 is like a transition period. But I feel like now we're set. Like, now, like 2024 is coming up. The RMRs are coming up. It's not time to make roster changes or anything. Like, you have the lineup that you have. Get set, ready, go. And at that game, I wish VP can be a little bit more present at the top. Oof, next year is going to be spicy.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.